Hello, everybody. Welcome back to All Our Parts. I am so excited for my guest today. She is the host of Seeking the Overlap. Baily, thank you so much for joining me today.
The pleasure is all mine. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Life has been lifing and then going through the ebbs and flows of everything, but nonetheless, it's so good to be able to just reconnect with you because, like you said, our last conversation was this summer. It's so wild to think about where we are right now and to think about how quickly time has passed and how energetically things just feel so different right now.
Yeah, understatement of the decade. This summer feels like 10 years ago in a lot of respects, and also 5 minutes ago. And so much has changed inner and outer and like all around. So much has changed in all of my parts, I feel like, since the summertime. So, yeah, we've been on kind of a roller coaster and like totally different rides, but everybody's on their own version. And we're kind of all like, can we get off yet? I would love a
Yeah.
snack and to stop going upside down. Thank you.
I was like, what? Can I just be even keel for a little bit?
Yeah.
But to start, just tell us about, I mean, you are the connection queen. You are all about bridging the dynamics of relationships, finding the overlap in relationships. And within this very specific political climate, this is where you have drawn the line. So tell us, like, what do you do? Why has community building been so valuable for you?
So I'm calling myself a connection strategist and professional friend maker. But mostly what I do is I teach people how to build better, more reciprocal relationships so they can stop grinding in isolation and start achieving their goals together without burnout or bitterness and all the negativity that can come when we think we have to do everything alone in our life. So, regardless of what your goal is, I try and teach people how to find the right human beings to bring into their world, how to deepen connection with those people, and then how to collaborate with them to succeed together at the end of the day. Because that's what's always worked for me. Anytime I've been after a particular goal or just in a season of life where I'm trying to achieve something, I have always depended upon the people in my life to help me get there sooner and with more joy along the way. However, I inside am the kind of person that has always been a solo person, like a solo achiever. I could
Mhm.
make a group project into a one woman show very quickly. I don't have a lot of trust that people are not going to let me down. That goes back to my childhood, of course. And so there's just a lot of like knowing and doing gaps with me between realizing and teaching people how to leverage the three C's community, connection, and collaboration to achieve their goals. And yet I have often done the opposite for many, many reasons. So yeah, community is deeply important. And I know that because I've experienced it my entire life. And it's easier said than done a lot of the time.
Mhm. What does it look like to still be like what does it mean to still be community oriented in a time that like feels individually heavy for so many people?
For me, the way that it's looked in the last few months, which has included the election going differently than I hoped and thought it would, fires in LA, my dad passing, and just parenthood feeling like I'm playing on hard mode lately. I have one diagnosed neurodiverse kid, one undiagnosed neurodiverse kid. I got a neurodiverse diagnosis a couple months ago in the middle of all of those other things. And everything just has felt really hard, just really hard and intense and all at once, right? It feels like everything everywhere all at once, but
Hmm.
feelings. And so the way that I have tried to continue to allow community to play an important role in my life is by being held by others,
Hmm.
being supported by others, welcoming that. And it's not comfortable for me. I always say, like, of community connection and collaboration, most people are excellent at one, mediocre at one, and terrible at one. And in such an ironic twist of fate, like I had a collaboration consulting business for 5 years, but collaboration is my weakest. I can teach people how to collaborate all day. I can advocate for you as a collaborator. But when it comes to finding people to allow into my life to support me, similar to the group project, I just have a really hard time. But I think when things get exceptionally hard, it can often wear you down so much that you're just like, okay, fine, bring me soup if that's what you want
Hmm.
to do. I will welcome the love. Send me a text in the middle of the day asking how I'm doing. Even if I don't respond, like I'm going to receive that and give it a heart emoji or whatever I have the capacity for. So I think in these sort of moments where you do feel like you're in hibernation mode or isolation mode and you're just trying to make it through another day, the best thing you can do for yourself is sort of, turn on your light of your lighthouse to be like, guys, I am in here, even if I don't answer the door. Like, please still come a
Mm.
knocking and, show up for me. I can use a little love and support right now. And so it's been a good practice for sure. Cause I think most of the time, so many of us are really good at being the strong one and the strong friend and not needing anybody. We're here for other people, but we don't let them be here for us. And it's in those moments of exhaustion when you just can't help but say, okay, whatever, that you can welcome in that love and support and actually receive from the people that you have these reciprocal relationships with.
Mm. But and it's like almost this idea that we've got a especially strong, very independent, hyper independent people who have no issue picking up other people, who have no issue showing up for other people. It's like we wait until we are bogged by life to say, I
Yeah.
surrender. If you want to love me, you get to love me. If you want to show up for me, you get to show up for me. But what is that? And I mean, I see it in my own life as well. Like I literally wait until the last minute when I am like crawling where I'm like, you know what? I should probably tell people they haven't heard from me because I'm not doing well. And I am mentally like not doing well. But
Yeah.
we wait till we're like stretched out on the couch, binging the same show for the 10th time. And we're like, oh, actually, I should probably reach out to somebody.
And in those moments, you don't have that, right? In your time of need, you are often just trying to make it to the next hour. You're not like, okay, who can I text and how can I help them help
Mm,
me? That kind of stuff is really reserved for when you have a full tank of gas. And I keep telling friends, like when they ask how I'm doing, I'm like, I just feel like an old iPhone that can't hold a charge. Like I can't even get charged past like 30% before I start draining the battery again. And so my closer friends have really stepped up for me and like they're just sort of telling me what's happening. They're like, a friend of mine is like, I booked us a day pass at this spa.
mm,
She asked me for dates that I was free. I gave her dates and she's like, okay, I booked us a time. I'm going to pick you up at this time. We're going to go. I got it. And we're going to come back that night. You'll be back in time for bedtime with your kids. Like, it was not do you want to do this? Cause I probably would have been like, I can't do that right now. Like, that
mm,
feels too luxurious or indulgent or whatever. But like, I needed that so badly. And she just offered that and just made it I could only say yes to, which is kind of what you have to do in those circumstances. But again, that depends upon your people also having a full enough tank on their end to be able to offer that and see you, right? I leave little breadcrumbs for people. And I think my closer friends know where to look for those now. My husband definitely knows where to look because I'm fully unmasked and unavailable in my home with him. So he knows sooner than everybody else. But like I post a lot to social media. I share what I'm thinking. My reposts are very indicative of my headspace at the time. So it's like, oh, she just posted five, like kind of iffy posts in a row, like really down. She might be needing a little conversation. So I sort of, that's like me shining that light in my own
mm,
lighthouse, being like, SOS, but like no problem if you're too busy to pick up on this, right? So it's giving people an opportunity who know me and who have their eye on me to come in and support without me overtly having to ask for it, which feels better to me. It puts
mm.
it on them. And for people that aren't in that headspace, they're not even going to notice. They're just going to keep scrolling. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's also intentionality is the word that comes to mind when you just spoke because like you said, if people aren't looking, they're not gonna see it.
Yeah.
But the people who are like looking for you, looking for us, who are like paying attention and who want to be like tuned in, I think
Mhm.
that's also, I think my original pitch to you was talking about how we are in probably like what feels like the loneliest time for
Mhm.
so many people, feeling so disconnected. And part of that, I feel like from a therapist standpoint, is like we have all of these connections and people to go to and all of these coffee dates and networking events, but we are lacking a lot of depth in our
Yeah,
relationships.
correct. Yes, that is a huge issue right now. By now, probably everybody's heard we're in a loneliness epidemic, not just in the US, but in multiple major countries. And it's despite the fact that we are seemingly more connected than ever, but it's digitally connected. And we all know that there's a massive difference between in person connection and digital. However, on threads, I have found deep connection with
Hmm.
strangers, right? You and I originally, I think, got connected on threads.
Hmm.
And I've had many people that I've like actually become friends with through these genuine responses to posts or even seeing each other's responses in a post that you both commented on. So digital connection is absolutely possible, but it does depend upon the location and the intentionality and the subject
Hmm.
matter. Connection right now, I think, is the number one lack of connection, is the number one reason we are in the state that we're in, right? We're disconnected from ourselves. We're disconnected from the earth. We're disconnected from our neighbors. We're disconnected from even like our enemies, right? Or seeming
Hmm.
enemies, people that believe differently than us. Like we are so hyper like siloed in a way, a lot of because of the internet and the ability to like really curate and have your algorithm demand, that you watch and read and are exposed to certain things. But it is possible to go around that. It just, again, it takes energy and it takes effort. It's the most worthwhile effort of anything you'll ever do. But it seems so simple to me,
Hmm.
right? From a macro perspective, it's like, well, duh, if we could connect with one another, which you first must connect with yourself, which is what you and
Hmm.
I talked about on my podcast, which was a huge wake up call for me, by the way. I can connect people to each other, I can connect with other people, but I was for a long time missing that self connection and just had no idea. And once I realized that, it was this gaping hole I could not see anymore. And it's like, it has shifted my perspective on everything. Cause it's like,
Hmm.
why don't people that seemingly have a lot in common, like why aren't they having deeper connections, and what's the missing piece here? And I think it is that interconnection piece that's often missing, and I think that has to happen before you can really deeply connect with somebody else. Because yeah, if you don't know who you are and what you like and what your goals are and your values and your interests, then how are you going to share what's in your overlap with somebody, right?
When I first started becoming a like therapist and going through like the internship process, I would always say to a lot of my friends who were just starting, I would say one thing I have learned about client work is I can only meet them as deep or as far as I have met myself.
Yep.
When they were showing up in their grief, in their pain, if I wasn't addressing my grief and my pain, then I could not really sit with them in that space. As I've become more connected and aware of myself, I'm also able to meet my relationships from a more genuine, authentic place because I'm meeting myself there. I think where a lot of people get scared is that they realize everyone then doesn't fit in the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And so to approach relationships or like even collaboration sometimes from a superficial place feels exhausting.
Yeah, it feels worse than not doing it at all. And that is exactly what's happened with me, is after sort of realizing, okay, I'm a bit disconnected from the me of right now, right? Like I know old me, because I did
Mm.
that self connection forever ago. But most of the time, people forget to keep that relationship current. I get there through writing and through like verbal journaling, which I go on like self talk walks and just have a conversation with me. And that helps me get into like, what am I actually feeling and thinking? And once I started doing that, I just realized there were a lot of people that had VIP access that shifts how you show up for your current friends, the kind of support you expect from the people in your life. Like losing a parent and going through really hard things between, the fires went on for 3 weeks and the day
Mm.
they went out is the day he died. So then it was like, okay, let's pass that baton from one grief to the next. I wish it weren't the case, but I have a little mental tally in the back of my mind of the people that have yet to reach out about either of those things. Because to me, it's like, well, if you're not reaching out when things are very obviously hard, like it's not
Mm.
ambiguous, those two things alone are really hard. And they're on top of the stuff that's affecting a lot of us. So to me, it's like, okay, well, you definitely know about it. And if you haven't reached out, then I don't think you're actually a friend.
Mm.
Because what is a friend then to you? Is it just for good times? Because I've got friends that do both. And to me, that's like what you want is a friend that's there for all of the times. Maybe that's a little bit Pollyanna of me to think that that is what I could expect from people, but I've seen it. So I know that it's possible. And to me, I would rather have a handful of those people than a whole smattering of people that only fall into one of those categories. And so during this time of this like particularly challenging time in my life, where it also was preceded by me starting to realize like, oh, I've been actually performing for a lot of my relationships. I've been
Mm-hmm.
masking hard without realizing I was masking. And now that I'm taking off those masks, there are people that, whether they realize it or not, are just not as here for that version of me. And I'm not as here for giving them that version of me because I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel safe to do that. And if that is true, then again, it's like, oh, well, then maybe we're actually not friends or we're no longer friends. And it sucks, even if it's a good thing, even if it makes room for more aligned people to come in, it's still a death of sort, right? It's an
Mm-hmm.
ending. And we're not prepared for friendship endings the way that we are for romantic endings. It's really unfair.
I mean, I think as a society, we are just now giving space for platonic endings to have as much depth and carry as much weight in our lives as we place on romantic relationships. Even Valentine's Day being not only about romantic love, but also our friends and even the love that we have for ourselves. Like we're shifting the narrative of what is like deep, meaningful love, and we're allowing it to be from a more holistic approach. It, I just have so much swirling through my mind right now as you're talking because I'm also thinking about like how I've seen just like through socials and reaching out to you, like, and I've reached out and like there have has been no like expectation, and so I can't like imagine how heartbreaking, like equal parts like heartbreaking and like while navigating lifing, but also like recognizing, damn, there are people out there who only want one version of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it sucks. And I also hold space for the truth of it, the many truths of it, which is, you don't know what's going on in other people's lives
Hmm.
unless they tell you or unless word gets around. I also hold the possibility that either they don't know what to say, which is usually the case, right?
Hmm.
And I think anybody that's grieved anything, regardless of whether it's a person or a loss of any kind, knows that anything is better than silence. Any outreach, even if it's, I have no idea what to say and I can't even imagine how you feel, but I am thinking about you. Like, that is amazing. And I will tell you, like, I went to the internet and told the internet about my dad passing like the day after it happened because I deal with things and move through things better in the open. And other people's reactions to it kind of help me navigate my way through in a lot of ways. But I did that, which meant I was going to get an onslaught of messages and texts and all of that, which is what I got. And so it was funny. It's almost like there's waves of this too. And you can tell the people that have been through it themselves because they check in 10 days later and they
Mm-hmm.
check in 21 days later and they check in long past people have moved on and sort of forgotten about it because when you grieve something or someone you realize that it's actually forever.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out, which is a real bummer in some ways, but you just never know when it's going to show up. And so I have so deeply appreciated the friends that have been like, hey, B, just thinking about you. Like, no need to respond. Just
Mm-hmm.
keep, you're on my mind. I hope today's a good day. And if it's not, I'm here to talk. That has just been also a lesson in how I want to start showing up more for people in their hard times too. Because to your point, you can only meet people as deep as you've met yourself. And that includes hard times. I think you can sympathize and empathize all day, but until you've been there yourself, you just don't really know. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, it's been a very illuminating time. I had a dream last night about a group of different friends who are all separate from each other who have not reached out and said anything to me since like maybe my birthday in September. And I had a conversation with them in my dream about how disappointed I was that that was
Mm-hmm.
the case. I don't remember how it all resolved, but clearly it's on my subconscious as well. So, yeah, good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Friendships change. People don't always show up the way you hope they're going to. Sometimes random people show up that you don't expect. The kind texts that I have gotten from people who I haven't thought about in like 15 years is wild, like more than five, to where I'm like, wow, I would not have called this one, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel really wonderful about this. And it's now re-sparked like some old conversations that I haven't had with people in a really long time. So it is a roll. It's like
Yeah.
that messed up carnival ride that spins as you're going on a track.
Mm-hmm.
It's like layers, layers upon layers.
Yeah. Well, space always ends up being made in such curious, like
Yes.
unexplainable ways. And then when that space is created, it allowing the journey to unfold is like where the like magic happens.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also this like to the person who's like giving that is like I think sometimes we expect a response when we reach out when we say hey like how can I support you and then we don't like get the response. It's like oh no like then I don't know what to say, then I don't know what to do. Then it's kind of like a
Right.
one-sided thing and feeling like I think sometimes I get into my head like I don't want to bother the person.
Right. They're dealing with a lot. They don't want to hear from me. Or
Hmm.
maybe you think it's going to be performative, right? Like, oh, well, they'll, I don't know. It's so dumb how we get so deeply into our heads about human connection. It's almost, to me, the way that I think of it is like, what would I want? And that's the only way I can go about things because otherwise we're just guessing and we're guessing anyway about what people are thinking and needing. So
Yeah.
screw it, at least base it on some kind of reality, which is your own. So yeah, it is. And I think that's why, like with text messages that I got when I just haven't been in the headspace or had the energy to respond, I'm like hearting everything. And like, I'm telling them, like, this was received. Thank you. I don't have the capacity right now to get into the specifics. And like,
Hmm.
the question, how are you, is just like, how does one answer that? I mean, I have 20 responses I could give at any given point in time, and they're all true. So, yeah, it can feel really hard to support and be supported by your people during hard times, but you got to get over the clumsiness and awkwardness of it because that really is where true bonds are fortified, are when it is less obvious the correct response or the
Hmm.
correct thing to say or do. Like, I think the messy humanness of just showing up imperfectly and making your best guess, I think that alone is worth the effort. If it's not received in a way that you felt like, I don't know, not that it should be about you when you're trying to support somebody, but if you're not feeling good about that interaction either, or that bigger relationship, then that's an opportunity for you to know as well that, like, okay, maybe this isn't what I thought it was. And again, that is part of life. It sucks, but it's part of life. And I think the more we can adapt to that being the case, the more we can appreciate and value our relationships while they are in their best peak, right? Or in their
Yeah.
best phase of life, knowing that we can't count on them to be there for absolutely forever.
Yeah. What's one piece of advice you would give to people who are trying to figure out how to build community in really uncertain times?
I sort of use the idea around like finding people who share a common goal, interest, or values to you. There are so many organizations that exist in this world, online and off, locally, globally, that it's really just a matter of picking one. I'm a big fan of rather than starting from scratch, building a community of people. Because when we talk about community, it can mean a lot of things. So when
Hmm.
I say community, I mean your network, what people would traditionally consider your network. So all the people, I have these zones of connection, concentric circles that I operate from that really help people understand, there's could be connections, casual connections, your MySpace top 8, the friend zone, like there's all of these circles, right? Of course, everybody's at a different place with you in terms of the strength of your bond. But when you're thinking about building community, so finding new humans to welcome into your life, I use the words curate community specifically because of the point you brought up a little bit ago around like being selective with who you welcome into your life, because not everybody is for you. One person that might be for you today might not be for you anymore in 5 years because we're
Oh.
all evolving all the time. If you can think of people as like meandering in and out of your life and through those zones of connection, which is how it works, then I think it's a lot easier to be less attached to any one particular individual. When
Mm.
you look at it as this organism, this living organism in and of itself, like your community is made up of a bunch of human beings that are
Mhm.
moving and evolving and changing on their own too. So, of course, it's going to be like this beehive of activity, right? Like it's not stagnant. So, when I talk about curating your community, what I really mean is go to where your people are
Mm.
and then find 1 to 2 to 3, if you're lucky, people in that particular community or group that you can then nurture through the zones of connection, from could be connections to casual connections to the friend zone. That's where most people are going to go from, is possibility. We like recognize each other. Maybe we know each other's names, down into the friend zone, which is somebody you would like invite to your birthday party or go out to coffee
Mhm.
with. So, one of the easiest ways you can do this is pick a cause using the moment we're in culturally, politically. There are many causes one can put their efforts
Mhm.
behind. Just look in any direction and something's on fire that you can help put out or rebuild something better. And so if you find a cause that you're interested in, guarantee you there will be protests, there will be meetings, there will be ideation sessions, maybe there's book clubs, whatever. There will probably also be a virtual community that you can join to keep the conversations going with those people. You could think about like, what are your interests, right? Like, what is your life circumstance right now? I'm a parent of neurodiverse kids, so I'm actively seeking out communities where there are other parents of neurodiverse kids to
Mhm.
just lean on each other and have camaraderie and commiseration and ideally support and ideas. Just look in any direction in your life. Pick a thing that is interesting to you, go to a place where other people will also be interested in that thing. And then, boom, you already have something right there in the overlap on the Venn diagram between you and the other person to start from, right? You've got a conversation starter. And then you start to just sort of feel them out. It's like, okay, are we cool? Are we not cool? Like, it's just like dating. It's the same as dating, except you can date a ton of people all at once. And like every relationship you have benefits the other ones in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, just go to where your people are and just start small. Like, don't overcommit. Don't do like me. Do as I say, not as I do. Go pick one community, try it out for like a month, whether that's volunteering or it's an art class or it's a virtual writing group or whatever. Like, go show up regularly, give it a fair chance to do something for you and for people to find you within that community and for you to find them. And then you start the process of the next C, which is connection. So you got to go to where your people are.
Mm. For those who are just listening and not necessarily watching, I am leaning forward in my microphone because I just love listening to Baily. Like everything she says, it just like resonates. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, and like I just feel like I always learn something when I am listening to you.
Oh, thank you. I feel very like, lay it on me. You should be a therapist.
Maybe I'll consider
Have
it.
you thought about it?
How can people find you? How can they find you if they are interested in learning more?
Go to overlapcollective.com. That has all of my things. In my haze of grief and stress and anxiety, I've been redoing my website. I'm a queen of productive procrastination as well, where I'm like, I don't need to do this, but it'll be good that I did. So go check it out. Tell me if you like it. Overlapcollective.com, and then scroll all the way to the bottom and you'll see all of my social handles. I mostly spend a lot of time on Threads and LinkedIn and Instagram. And yeah, I have my podcast, Seeking the Overlap, which comes out sporadically. There are 10, I think 10 or 11 episodes available now. Jasmine has been an incredible supporter, and I'm so grateful for all the love you give me on the internet and all the sharing you do. And it's wonderful. Thank you.
Of course.
Oh, God. I feel like she's so needy this year. No, I think my commitment is to show up as authentically as I can, even when it's the last thing I want to do. What comes from authenticity, which to be honest with you, I didn't even know what the hell that word really meant until recently, too. So showing up as authentically myself, whatever that looks like in the day, too, which is like
Hmm.
for a perfectionist, people pleaser, overachiever, to not show up as the top version of me in any circumstance feels dangerous and chaotic and
Hmm.
against everything in my body. So that's how I know it's something I should probably do, because it feels scary. It doesn't feel like nerves. It feels like a good intimidating, like something I want to not overcome, because I don't know if you ever do, but focus on. And so being authentic, whatever the hell that means, with strangers, with people that think they know me. It is definitely easier to be authentic with strangers than it is with people you have relationships with, I'm finding, turns out,
Hmm.
because you kind of have to do some undoing of what they think they know. But it has been really fun and interesting to see how my existing relationships receive that authenticity and or not.
Hmm.
And with strangers, how much deeper a new relationship can go faster when you
Hmm.
start from the truth versus the illusion.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I love it. Bailey, thank you again so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.